Today, I really quickly want to discuss the internet's reaction to Inde Navarrette's choice to turn down a role for Heat 2 in favor of playing Rogue in the new X-Men film. Now, in case you didn't already know, Heat 2 is the sequel to the 1995 crime drama film starring Al Pacino and Robert De Niro, and Inde Navarrette over here, who became a breakout star after her amazing performance in Obsession, chose to star in the MCU's 2028 X-Men film, overtaking a role in Heat 2 alongside Christian Bale and Leonardo DiCaprio. And now, a lot of people are suddenly starting to hate on Inde Navarrette for this choice, and I reckon it's extremely stupid, ridiculous, and nonsensical for the following 3 reasons. Reason 1. This is her own choice. Now I'm going to start this explanation off by giving you an analogy, and it's going to sound ridiculous, so just bear with me. Back in 2021, when I was 15 and vaping all of a sudden became popular amongst all my friends, I was extremely contemptuous and disdainful towards the fact that several people in my year and my school were vaping. And I would always make comments like, "Oh, I think you should chuck your vape in the bin," or "I can't believe there are several people in this generation that are vaping." But over time, I slowly started to realize that not only is vaping 100% someone else's own choice and 0% mine, but it also only directly affects them and doesn't affect me or anyone else for that matter. In a similar manner, this is Inde Navarrette's own career, hence it's 100% her own choice on which roles she accepts and which she rejects, not ours. Now that doesn't mean we can't have opinions on a decision, because of course we can, and it may even end up not being the best choice for her. But point is that there's a massive difference between, I personally think Heat 2 would have been the better career move for her, as opposed to actually hating on her for choosing something different. At the end of the day, it's her career, not ours. Reason 2. Neither of these 2 movies have been released yet, let alone started filming. Since neither Heat 2 nor X-Men 2028 have released yet, we cannot have a proper say on whether or not she made the right choice. Like, we don't know yet the answer to several important factors, such as whether her role in Heat 2 is even that major, or whether Heat 2 is even good, or whether the new X-Men film is even good, or whether she plays the role of Rogue well, and etc. And that's the point. We can't just make all these preconceived judgments and assumptions when we are still a few years away from actually seeing these films. Like, it's one thing to be skeptical about a certain choice or casting decision, or even for us to have seen both the 2 films and then make a reliable judgment on whether or not she made the better choice. But it's another thing entirely to just go online and all of a sudden just start hating on Inde Navarrette for her choice before we even know how other film turns out. So why don't we just cross this bridge when we get to it? Reason 3. She could have much greater long-term job security when playing as Rogue. After Secret Wars in December 2027, the MCU has plans for the X-Men up until 2042, assuming the MCU doesn't cancel or change their plans. Cough cough, Kang Dynasty. So assuming that these plans actually go ahead, Inde Navarrette will be locked into these films for a long period of time, and hence this consistent and recurring work would be much safer and more valuable for her career, as opposed to Heat 2, which would just be a single movie. And if you're someone who's hating on her decision specifically because she chose to star in the MCU, then you must be forgetting how good the past 3 MCU films of Thunderbolts, Fantastic Four, and Spider-Man Brand New Day were. Like, if that's not a sufficient reason to start regaining some faith with the MCU, then I don't know what is. Now look, I completely understand if you became cynical with the MCU because of some of the post-Endgame duds, such as Thor Love and Thunder, Ant-Man 3, and The Marvels, just to name a few, but let it go, because that's officially in the past. Elsa put it best all the way back in 2013. The past is in the past. So, to sum things up, the hate against Inde Navarrette for choosing their future X-Men films over Heat 2 is just awful, and it needs to stop. And while I obviously need to have seen the 2 films before I can make the proper assessment, based on what we know right now, I reckon she picked the better option.